Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hello, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And today's guest is Marcella Mollon-Williams. She's a licensed behavioral financial advisor. She's also a certified cognitive behavioral coach, which I'm fascinated about, and the co-founder of Legacy Builder Group, a holistic coaching and investment firm helping families build wealth with purpose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Teri. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Okay, so bring us up to speed and how you got to be where you're at today.
It's a journey that started with my family business. I worked my family had a sign company. I worked in bookkeeping, in finance, and then eventually my brother and I started our company, Legacy Builder Group, and started growing from there. Now, in the midst of that, my first love, my first dream was to be a psychologist.
Okay.
However, have Caribbean parents, and they said, no, you're going to stick to business and run the family business. If you know anything about cultural situations.
Yeah, sometimes the choices are limited.
Exactly. That was my situation. My choices were a bit limited, but I couldn't let go of my fascination with behavior. And from a kid, I was a people watcher. I always want to know what made people do the things they do. Yeah. That was the thing for me. So I ended up going to finance.
Because that is so connected.
Oh, exactly. Clearly it's connected.
I understand that need because my background is counseling. And so I went the counseling route. So I was a therapist for many, many years before transitioning into what I do now. But yes, I hear you. So I can speak the language and I understand the power of like the curiosity, like, right? Like how human behavior, there's just something about it is just, I'm right there with you. Like I am the people watcher. I'm just fascinated by humans.
Yes, and you're right. We are the most interesting things beings. It really is fascinating. It's like a hobby of mine. While I'm doing finances, I'm studying human behavior, and then I came across some mentors in the area of finance who were really studying behavioral economics. And so with a practice, that is where we kind of took that holistic approach. But there was always more for me. And this is before I knew there was such a thing called being a behavioral financial advisor. I didn't know that. But here's the thing, like when you're seeking something, when you truly have that desire for something, it'll show up without you even knowing it exists. You don't have to wait for the thing that actually exists or what everyone else is doing. You do what you need to do and you will find that. So
can I have you unpack that just a little bit, because I have never heard of this term before. So a behavioral financial advisor, because I know in the financial world, there's like 12 categories of different types of people, but they all do something different.
Yes.
And sometimes it's crossover and sometimes it's a firm box. So just for anyone else besides myself, it's really for myself because the listeners probably already know this, but like, tell me what that really means.
Yeah, no, sure. There are people in the financial field who've never heard of it. They're like, oh, you're a financial advisor. What's that? So trust me.
I get the financial advisor piece, but like the behavioral piece. Yeah.
So basically behavioral financial advice is a combination of traditional finance, neuroscience, and psychology.
Yeah.
Yes, and you combine this to help people. I say it's help people manage their savings and investment behavior. And I go the extra, way to say that is about helping them to stop this financial self-sabotage.
Yes.
And that starts with the mind. When it comes to investing, this is how I explain it the best. We all really know when it comes to investing, the basic rule of investment, and that is to buy low, sell high. Exactly. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we actually do when things start happening in the market? We panic, we get excited. So either we're panicking or we're excited. And then when we're excited and stocks are going up, we want to buy as it's going high. Yes. And when we panic, we sell as it's dropping low.
Yes, but I used to belong to an investment group, and it was so funny because like my husband and I are just kind of like boom, 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 But it was funny how, again, watching people, like it was funny how like that was happening within the group. Is like, they're like, oh, we gotta sell. I'm like, and my husband just is like, he's so like, I brought him in. I joined because I knew the people, but I was like, I really wanted him to do it.
Right.
Like this isn't my jam.
Right.
But so I became like the entertainer. Like I was there for just entertainment purposes, like keep the energy high and like let's do this, but it was so funny because like the emotional piece I got, and we're like, we can't get emotional to this. It is like it's black and white. It's like don't get attached to this, like we're gonna sell, we're gonna buy. But so we were kind of like the balance of the group. And then he kind of got his wings and and then actually kind of grew out of it, if you will, and kind of to onto bigger and better things. But it was really kind of fascinating to kind of see that. But you're absolutely right. It's like, and then once you had the strategy, because he's like, okay, you buy low, you ride the wave, you look at the like little, what do you call it? The, kind of the indicators, if you will. Yes. And then that's when you're like, okay. And he would always say, what was his thing? Like he'd always, you write it up, right? You get the free money. He'd always take 50% out because that's the free money, right? If there is such a thing, right? Like the free money. Right. And then you take the free money and you dip it over here, and then you do this, and then you write this, and then when you're ready to sell that, then you sell that, and blah blah. And it was just like, it was just like a literal like system. Like it's like you do this, you do this, And so, and when you don't get attached to it, and you're just taking your free money out and you're putting your free money out into other investments or other things or other, saving, whatever you're doing with your free money, right? Anyways.
That's the key. No, that's the key to it, because it's like you have a strategy, and you're not emotionally tied to it. You're not going along with the emotions of the market or the people around you or the news cycles or any of that. You're like, this is my goal. You set the goal, whatever purpose that is for, and you're focused on that. And it's funny because so much research has been done on this, and it's as a part of the research, I love this one research that was done that found that women are some of the best investors. And when they look as to why, it's because they don't touch it. They don't do anything. They leave it and they forget it. And because we get caught up in this game of investing, we start to gamify it, when the markets really aren't made to work that way. It wasn't made for this short term, the mindset that we have now. This microwave society is about moving and changing and constantly playing this game. But the market is set up for long-term investing. So if you're investing for retirement, then that's a distance away. You have time to ride many ups and downs. But when we're constantly trading and moving and paying attention to market timing and stock picking and all of these things, then we're losing, because you're losing gains that you would have had by keeping it still. And so when you look at the long-term gains, people who just leave their money alone do the best in the market, have the best returns. So it is really interesting because of what we're being inundated with. We see it with social issues and it's financial issues. It's all really the same thing. It's all the same behavior, the same biases that tie into our behavior, whether it's finance, whether it's in our family, fitness, and all these, our faith. And I have what I call the 4F initiative, family, fitness, finance, and faith. And kind of just help people to understand the aspects of behavior and how our behavior intersects between these areas in our lives.
Yeah. And what did you say the four
Sure.
Financial, fitness?
Yeah. Fitness, finance, family, and faith.
Family and faith. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I get it. She's
And
got
so
the
that's
F word done here, baby.
I know. Right?
I love it. I love it.
So the whole transition point, getting to me being a financial, really going into being a financial advisor, a behavioral financial advisor. There was a journey and transition, and I know you're all about breaking through these transformations. And yeah, there's
what was that
definitely
moment for you? What
about
was that moment or that period of time where what was your biggest
yes
area that you had to overcome?
So I'd been studying coaching. We knew we didn't want a traditional financial investment firm. We wanted to help people, coach people through the process. So we had been studying, behavior and mindset and all those types of things. However, it was in 2019 where I was kind of going through a lot of processes just before the pandemic and everything was going on. And 2019, I had gone through a process of discovering my values, my purpose, really digging into who I am. I had two children. The last one turned 18 and 19. Well, she was 19 at that age. And that year she was 19. And it was time for me. It was time to get me back and really reevaluate what it's all for. And one of the things that I discovered was that I was not really tapping into what was important to me, and that was growth. Like to truly grow as an individual and as a person in the various areas of my life. So I had to give myself a challenge to do that, to break through any limiting beliefs, doubt about myself, Swiss cheese confidence, all of these things that were going on. I gave myself a challenge, and I know I needed a physical challenge, because another thing that I was ignoring that I realized was one of my values was fitness. And I was not putting as much effort into that. So on September 28th, 2019, which was my birthday, I decided that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of chronic fatigue. I was tired of constant migraines. I would get 2 or 3 migraines a month. There were just things going on with my body that wasn't right. And I said, I'm done with this. I know enough that I know food, a change in diet will help me, and physical activity I need to do. So the big challenge, and that was the first year I went through a vegan, somewhat vegan, because I'm not entirely vegan, but I went through a mostly vegan holiday, went through Thanksgiving and Christmas vegan. And the physical challenge I gave myself was to do a full split, I've never been able, was not a cheerleader. I've never been able to do a split.
Oh, a full split?
A full split.
Split. Okay, split. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Legs.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, girl, I have a funny story.
Do you?
Okay. I'm going to share yours first.
Okay. I got to hear that story now. So a full split, because I wanted flexibility. Yeah. I feel like flexibility is the fountain of youth. Yeah. And when I'm flexible, you can move, you feel more youthful. And I love to play. I like to have fun. I like to just sometimes want to be a big kid. I want to be able to run around and not feel pain, right? Yeah. So that went up, be forever young, forever learning. So flexibility was the goal, and the full split was the challenge, because I knew it would challenge me both mentally and physically in a place that I'd never been before, because for my whole life, I ran away from pain. I was afraid of pain, physical pain. And I think that translates to mental pain in various ways. And I knew this was going to be a painful process I would have to overcome. And it truly was a painful process. And by the end of it, I finally accomplished my full split. Yes, this year in June of 2021.
Oh my goodness. Did you get on one of those? My mom, when I was growing up, my mom's best friend was a karate,
Yeah,
like the highest level karate instructor
yeah,
or
like
whatever. And she had like a split like machine.
what is the no, I didn't have.
I
I
mean,
used the
look,
wall
AKA torture device. Like,
torture
I mean,
device.
just like, let's just be real. Like, it's more of a torture device. I mean, I guess some people use it for splits, but oh my
Yeah,
gosh, and I'd be on that and I was like cranking it, and you just, oh,
I remember that. I did karate when I was young, and I remember that device. I didn't look for it. I did not look for it. I said, I will use the wall.
I will use the wall and the floor, like,
Yes, the wall and the floor, and
and a
anything
pillow
else
in
I could
between.
use.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love this.
Yeah. So,
Oh my
and that,
gosh.
no, that
Well,
journey
what an
changed.
accomplishment. I'm right there with you. Like, anything that there's something about setting a target or a goal, and especially for fitness, because I'm the same way. Like, I don't enjoy exercising. Like, I don't know why. I just don't feel like it has I know that there's health benefits. I know, like,
Mhm.
we all know this, right? Yet, like, if I don't have a target, like, oh, okay, like, I'm not gonna go run, just because. But
Right.
it doesn't, my husband says I run like a turtle. I don't know if I do or not, but that's what they say. They're like, you run like this. So apparently I'm an ugly runner. Who knows? I'm just doing me. And then sometimes I have a good song comes on and I'm like, oh, this is great. And so I start dance running, which looks like a seizure. So it probably does not look very attractive. Like, I'm pretty certain I've stopped traffic once or twice. Um, but if I don't have a target, right? So I just ran a half marathon, but I trained for the half marathon. Not that the half marathon's over. So I'm like, what's next? Like, I got to find something else. So I get that. Like, I get
Yes.
the power of that. There's something that is
Yes.
innate in all of us, that
Yes.
there's like, here's my carrots. And then how do I get to that? And then going to the reward. Like, I mean, the reward center in our brain just lights up. It's like, oh, I achieved this. Yay. So I think,
Yes.
but that's fantastic. I'm proud of you. Like, this is awesome.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
she looks fantastic. She looks really young. Okay, I'm just saying, go check out the YouTube video. She looks smoking hot. However, having two 20-something-year-old kids, know that you're not some spring chicken. So the
Right.
fact that you did this is pretty incredible. So good for you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll say I'm 47. Like to decide you're going to do a split in your 40s.
47. I mean, I think like some people wouldn't even do it in their 20s. So
Right.
fantastic. I love
Yeah,
it.
when I was 25. But I think, what I didn't expect from it, because I expected the physical results. I did not expect what it was going to do to me, how it was going to actually change my mindset and what I thought of myself, who I became. Because the split was just a goal. It was just the physical manifestation of what was actually happening to me. And if a goal is not helping you grow, then it's not good enough goal. And I
Okay,
think,
so let's unpack that though, because I love how you said that was just the physical manifestation,
yes,
but what really happened, like the kind of the backstory of the backstory,
Yes.
was this other transformation. So share with that, like, what that process was.
Sure. Again, it was, as I mentioned before, I was afraid of pain. I avoided pain in many ways. In high school, I ran track. I got shin splints. I quit. It's like, I didn't like that pain. It didn't feel good. So when things didn't feel good, I quit. I didn't want to do it. And I think just allowing myself to quit things because it got hard developed a certain mindset in me. I just kind of developed a certain behavioral trait. Now, I grew up, one thing with me that was because I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, I knew perseverance when it came to business and what it would take to overcome certain things in the one area of my life, just not when it came to my pain and physical challenges in my mindset altogether. But what I didn't realize is that it was holding me back, even in my business. Like, I really wasn't rising to what I was capable of being and where the business was capable of going. So throughout that process, what was happening is that I was learning about things that, they're words that they trigger negative feelings, but they're positive words like accountability and discipline and like I said, pain and, all these type of things that we tend to shy away from. But I learned to love discipline. That was the hardest. That was the huge accomplishment for me because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. And I need to change things up. But there are aspects of discipline. It's not a bad thing. It's something that helps you actually enjoy life more. The more disciplined we become, the more free we actually become. And that's what I was not seeing until I got through this challenge.
I literally just on our last call that we had, we talked about habits and, creating these habits and things like this, but you're absolutely right. Like I love living. I allow myself, I'm very structured when it comes to my calendar.
Yes.
And people are like, well, that's being rigid. And I said, you know what? I have so much time freedom because I'm working smarter, not harder. And like that discipline of saying, this is what I'm doing this is what I'm doing this makes all the difference because it creates, because I love spontaneity. I love being
Yes.
able to do things and say yes to things when it just feels in alignment and feels juicy
Yes.
and yummy, right? But I do have a pretty, I don't want to say rigid because that's again one of those negative words, but like I do have a consistent schedule and calendar that allows me for that. And I think sometimes I am so grateful that you pointed this out because I think so often we forget
Yes.
that those habits, my morning routines and my evening routines allow me to create more. It just creates more ease. And so, these things like accountability and discipline and, structure and all that stuff, like we see as a negative, but really that is the thing that gives us the freedom, the fun, the all of that stuff that we can, that we get to choose. Right.
Yes, exactly. And all of that, again, that's a study of, behavior, learning. That's what I was really able to discover through all of that, just how better I can be in my professional life by really diving into who I am. Looking into those 4 elements, and fitness is just not about, physical appearance. It's about mental. It's, to me, when I say fitness, I'm thinking for, mental fitness, then physical fitness. When I talk about finance, I'm talking about, the behavior behind it, why, the purpose. What is your purpose? What is your true purpose for money? Why do you want that? That's what we need to look at first before we start planning and budgeting and all of that. What is it all for?
And then all ties back into that, the responsibility, the accountability, the habits, the structure, all of that gets connected. And you make another great point that I want to highlight is that, you said, you were giving up before things got hard. And any entrepreneur, and most of our women that are listening to this are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs or business owners. And I think that is such a powerful element of this journey is that, we are going to be faced with difficult things. We are going to be faced with difficult conversations. Yesterday, I got this phone call and I got this, I think I was grateful that she gave me kind of a heads up text. And then I was like, okay. And so I was like, okay, I got to put out a semi fire here. Right. And, and it was related to something else, that I facilitate, but I was like, okay, like it was one of those things. Where was I going with this? I could have easily, because it was going to be maybe a difficult conversation. And instead I shifted it for myself and was like, okay, I'm setting my intentions. Like, how is this call going to go? And like, it was really easy, but it's one of those things like, when we have that muscle and we've worked that muscle that we can do difficult things, that we can overcome. And my personal mantra is that we are never given more than what we can handle. And so when we're given difficult things, when we're given, things that feel heavy, feel big, I just say, well, gosh, I must be a badass then because I got this, and be like, okay. All right. And sometimes, sometimes I've been like, you know what? Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Because, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought, so if we go into that with like, it's a different mindset. It's a mindset that we can overcome this. That we have enough resources, we have enough knowledge, we have enough confidence, we have enough, whatever it is within us. And as Marie Folio says, everything is figure outable, so if we give ourselves permission to,
Yes.
and the time that that is required of us, we can figure this out. Like,
Yes.
we are smart human beings. Like, we have incredible, communities that are willing and able to help us if we're willing to, put ourselves out there. But I think that's just so great. I think that's, not giving up,
Mhm.
before we see the fruition of our work, and not
Yes.
giving up too soon. Because I think sometimes that is a case for a lot of people,
It is unfortunately very true. Like, we don't really realize, again, through this experience, realizing my full potential, what I'm capable of. Like, that was just the iceberg. But for so many of us, we don't realize what we're actually capable of. The more I study the human brain and the more I study the mind, I am fascinated with how it works on a basic level. The structure, how things line up, neurons, all of that. It is absolutely amazing what the brain is capable of doing, just regenerating and repairing on its own. But all that leads to our minds, what our mind is capable of, what we're capable of thinking and creating and inventing. We as humans are so incredibly powerful. So when we're giving up not just on ourselves, we're giving up on, it's a society thing, it's a community thing. I'm a community-based person. That's one of my values as well, is community. And so when I do something or don't do something, I understand that it's not just me I'm hurting. There's someone who's missing out on what I could have brought to them or what I could have provided. And that's for each and every one of us. I always say that, whatever you believe in or not, but I would say we are all God's highest creation. We are like when you look at society, you look at all of creation, which is so beautiful as I look out the window, and it's just beautiful, and we're all interconnected. But what we're the only creatures that are capable of doing what we do. You don't see any animal driving a car or inventing or building a skyscraper. Okay.
Thank goodness. Unless we're in some other altered state, right? Like,
yes,
but you are sharing like a lot of truth bombs right now. Like, just absolutely, you're on fire and you light up when you're talking about this. And you're absolutely right. Like, we are these powerful creators. And like you said, our ability to create and the capacity. I mean, we have an unlimited supply of capacity in this amazing organ called our brain, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And if you're talking about, your entrepreneurs who are watching this, that there's a specialness about us as entrepreneurs, with the creativity and imagination and all that we're bringing into our businesses. And we can't afford to give up. We can't afford to not do it, because for us to even start, for us to even take the step to say, hey, I'm starting this business, means that you had enough in you. There was something in your mind. You had the capacity to say, I have something to offer the world. All right. That's a huge step all by itself, because we all have something to offer the world, but not all of us recognize that. They would say, what's the saying, that the richest place is the grave, or there's a saying about the grave. I know someone's watching this and they're like, oh no,
yeah. Drop it in the chats. Yeah. Put it in the comments, please, for us.
Yes, please. But I know you're watching this and you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's so many people who go to the grave with untapped potential. Yeah. And we all have it. But as entrepreneurs, as you entrepreneurs who are watching this, you know that you already identified something. So when you give up, it's not just, oh, I quit, or I don't want to try, I'm tired, but you're actually making a conscious effort to say, I no longer value what the world needs from me, or you're just putting that aside. And this is what I always told my kids. It's not about you. Your life is not about you. They grew up hearing that all the time. Your life is not about you. You're here as a vessel. we are all here as a vessel. We've been given a calling, given a gift, and our job is to provide that world, the world that we're in, with that, and to leave the world a better place when we die than when we came in. And if you're not doing that, then that's a problem. That's a big problem. So my kids always grew up with this understanding that, yes, taking care of yourself and self-care and all of that is important. You are important, but you have a bigger purpose than yourself. And you must behave as such. And that's why, like I said, behavior is so important, because knowing is not enough. Behaving is where the knowing actually happens. So we know things, but we don't behave in the way that reflects that. And that always seems to be the challenge, is to get ourselves to behave in a way. And you said that you had someone on there earlier that touched on habits. And obviously that's an important part of developing the behavior to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your full being, your full potential, the highest version of yourself, whatever you want to say it is. It starts with your behavior. It starts with habits. It starts, with your mind. It's a continuous pattern. And for New Year's, 2022, it is the time. It's enough. If you've been doubting, if you've been limiting yourself, it's enough. It's time to really understand that quitting is not an option. I tell my husband when we got married, divorce is not an option. You're stuck with me, buddy. The same thing, quitting is not an option.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, you are just a wealth of information, just a delight to be around. Where can people find out more about you?
Yes, you can find me at my website, legacybuildergroup.com, or you can find me on Instagram. I am all over the place, Marcella Mollon-Williams. And I'll keep it simple. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and my website.
Awesome. Thank you so much for just being you, just being you and coming and being a vessel for this message, for the people that you're connecting with, collaborating with, and having a big impact in the world that you live in. And so thank you so much for being here today. And we hope that people will go connect and collaborate in whichever way capacity that works for them.
Thank you, Teri. I appreciate it. Love being on here.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.